Hey, what's up everybody? As you can see here, I finally received my LG G6, and of course, I couldn't wait to do some case reviews. Today, we're going to start with one of the most popular brands out there, and like the title of this video says, we'll be starting with a couple of top cases by Spigen. And just to put it out there, no, they're not paying me, nor do they send me these cases. And now that I've got that out of the way, let's do this. When it comes to these three cases, each of them checks off a different box depending on what you're looking for. Starting with the Ultra Hybrid, this is a one-piece case made from a TPU. It's flexible, and it's clear, it snaps right on with ease, and it looks pretty good if I do say so myself. In the hand, it's got a pretty good feeling and it adds a bit of extra grip. Along the bottom, you'll notice that you'll get proper and precise cutouts. If you've had a Spigen case before, then you know that they do this well. Moving around to the left-hand side, you'll find some Spigen branding etched into the side of the case, along with the volume up and down buttons. These are pretty easy to press and they work just as you'd expect them to. Lastly, I'll say that they're tactile and they're raised, so you're not going to have any issues finding them. Up top, you'll find cutouts for the 3.5mm headphone jack and noise cancelling microphone. On the right hand side, I'll just say that the tray for the SIM card and the SD card is covered, but you shouldn't need to get in there anyway. On the back, you'll find two spacious cutouts for the dual camera and the fingerprint scanner. With this case, your photos aren't going to be impacted at all. Oh, and did I mention? And because this case is clear, you can't help but to notice the G6 in all its glory. Finally, when we get to the front of this case, you'll notice that yes, you'll get that lay on the table support, but this case doesn't take away from the thin profile of the G6. Next up, we've got the Slim Armor. This is a two-piece case made from a polycarbonate and a TPU. It's the heaviest of the three cases today. It adds the most bulk, but it's also the most protective. Now, even though this is a two-piece case, I suggest that you install it as one starting from the bottom. It snaps right on. It does take a bit more effort, but I think it's the easiest way. Here's our first look at the case. Already I can tell you that I like the feeling in the hand, and I'm actually quite surprised. I mean, right now, I'll go so far as to say it feels better than the Ultra Hybrid. And with that, let's see what else this case has to offer and take the tour. Starting along the bottom, rest assured, I've tested the accessory connections and there's plenty of space here. My G6 is the Korean model, so I don't have wireless charging, but that usually works fine with this case. On the left hand side, you'll find the volume up and down buttons as shown here. They're a bit more firm than the Ultra Hybrid, so make sure that you give these a good press. I'm thinking over time, these are going to loosen up and feel a bit more natural. Up top, you'll find the necessary cutouts, but for me, man, it's the protective bezel that catches my eye. And as we move on to the right hand side, you'll find nothing but Slim Armor branding. Coming to the front of the case, you've got about a 1mm bezel here, which means definite support for lay on the table. On the back of the case, you'll also notice that this one provides the most protection for that dual camera, and I should also point out there's no rocking when you're typing. If there's anything Spigen could have done better, of course it's this kickstand. To me, I don't know, it just feels cheap and flimsy. But as you can see here, it definitely works, it gets the job done. So if you're going for that total hands-free experience, get yourself a pair of wireless earbuds, and with this case, you're good to go. Next up, we have the Thin Fit. This is a one-piece case made from a polycarbonate. It's got a matte finish and comes in multiple colors. This case was even built to support those magnetic vent clips, which I just so happen to have. I purchased this car mount for an upcoming video, so stay tuned for that. And of course, now that I know that it supports it, I've got to feature the Thin Fit. Out of the cases we'll be taking a look at today, this one's the thinnest and the lightest, and of course offers the least amount of protection. Now this isn't my first Thin Fit case, I've always liked these. They don't add much in the way of bulk or weight, but what they do add is something that we're trying to get away from, and that's those fingerprints. As you can see here, simply by touching the case, it can get pretty nasty. As you know, the G6 already has a glass back, and that too can get pretty nasty. So if you're thinking about this case, you're still going to need that microfiber cloth. I know, right? Kinda defeats the purpose. Anyway, let's take the tour. This case, you'll notice that the bottom and the top are open. Port access doesn't get easier than this. You guys already know that I like feeling the bare metal of the buttons, because with those, there's not going to be any issue when it comes to pressing them. And at least this way, you can touch some of the actual device. As I already mentioned, the top is open, so I'm not going to dwell on the subject. On the right hand side, notice how the case wraps around the phone. And speaking of wrapping, as you can see here, this case has the least amount of bezel. You'll probably also notice that I'm still rocking the pre-installed screen protector, and that's going away. I mean, I don't do it often, but if I'm going to lay my phone face down, you need a tempered glass protector for that. When it comes to the protection for the cameras, you'll see they sit recessed inside of the cutout. And lastly, along the bottom, you'll see some simple Spigen branding. Like I already said earlier, I'd be removing that pre-installed screen protector. And as you guys already know me and the channel, I've already got several tempered glass screen protectors on deck, and I've gone ahead and installed the first one. I don't think we're going to have any issues in that department. But getting back to these three cases by Spigen, each one checks a different box, whether it's design, fit and function, or protection. The thin fit and slim armor come in multiple colors, while the ultra hybrid comes in clear. At the making of this video, these cases range from 11 to about 30 bucks. I mean, but cost aside, initially when I was making this video, I thought the thin fit would be my favorite, but in the end, it was the slim armor that won me over. I know, I'm probably just as shocked as you are. The links are down below if you're interested, so go and check them out. Okay, so there you guys have it. What do you think of these three cases by Spigen for the LG G6? Or is the better question, are you even getting the G6? You tell me. But jokes aside, when it comes to Spigen and their cases, no matter what phone you have, you really can't go wrong with one of theirs. Sometimes they're a bit more pricey than other brands out there, but they're one that you can trust. And you've heard me say this before, sometimes you get what you pay for. Would I recommend these cases? Yeah, any of them. So if you have any questions, leave those in the comments below. I'm sure you know by now, if you're a fan of the channel, that I'll be watching when the S8 drops next week. So I should tell you now that I've got a lot on deck for the G6, so get ready for a lot of accessories for that phone. I've also got some other exciting things in the queue, as well as a special request for the S7 Edge. So if you're not already, now would be the time to go ahead and click that subscribe button for more content like this. Welcome to the channel. As always, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you in my next one.